I owed it to myself to do this right.
This is your life's work, and it's really important that you prioritize this, and we want to help you do that well.
They don't know what they don't know until they know it. They don't know what they're going to do in retirement until they're free of the burden of their work. You're going to decide, or it's going to be dictated to you, or you're not here and it's being dictated to your team. And so we're going to try and use this as a platform to educate and to help guide you through a process of preparing yourself and preparing your business for your ultimate succession. Welcome to the Total Succession Show. I'm your host, Tyson Ray, joined by Kim Cochenour. We're glad you're here. Today's conversation just might be the nudge you need to start preparing for what's next. You will exit your practice. You're either going to die owning it and someone's going to take it over, or you're going to have a succession event. In either way, you need to ask yourself the question, what would happen if you didn't wake up tomorrow and you didn't own your business anymore, or you weren't here? What's going to happen to your family? What's going to happen to your team? What's going to happen to your clients? This is not something that we can ignore any longer because the industry requires, and as a fiduciary, your clients deserve a total succession plan that allows people that you care about and people that care about you to know what needs to happen. So like you, I thought for many years I had everything in place I needed to have in place, but something happened when I turned 50. I actually went and got some legal opinions and did some research to find out, do I have the firm valued correctly? Do I have my employment contracts right? Do I have my operational agreement structured correctly? Do I have my practice prepared and ready to make a succession if I didn't wake up? And what I found in exploring and spending the better part of a year is I didn't, and I thought I did. And what I realized as I have been a student and a teacher of the financial services industry, I realized that there was a gap or a space that needed to be filled with how does one prepare themselves to go through the process of a total succession, whether that's one you're going to do in the short term or one you're going to do long term or one you're never going to do until you drop dead. We all need it. And that's what this podcast is about. After 27 years of being in the business, growing my own business, after acquiring several practices and helping advisors have their succession, not realizing that was the language, right? They were retiring and they were each different. And yet looking back, there were things that they could have done better. We could have done better to make it better. After going through and stress testing my own plan, I was embarrassed at the gaps that it had. And worse, had I died, or worse, had I tried to have an opportunity to go into a succession, my team was going to be affected, clients were going to be affected because I didn't have my ducks in a row, and I didn't know it. And so we're going to try and use this as a platform to educate and to help guide you through a process of preparing yourself and preparing your business for your ultimate succession. You're going to decide, or it's going to be dictated to you, or you're not here and it's being dictated to your team.
Yeah. And as someone who built a business, you chose to go into business for yourself to be able to make those decisions. This is just another element of that you need to follow through. And so, Tyson, you changed everything for yourself when you kind of started putting it through this SPACE framework and understanding the differences that you need to the steps you have to walk through. So talk to us a little bit about the SPACE framework.
Yeah, I just think that by spending a year and getting many people that are going to be on these podcasts perspective and input, I was educating myself and I became the client and they were the advisor. And realizing advisors need advisors, right? And the plan I had in place was kind of more in my head or was kind of more on a piece of paper, but it wasn't. There weren't legal agreements in place. There weren't things in place that I could trust that would make sure it happened correctly. And I think I had to get to the point, and what I think we all have to get to the point as business owners is realizing you owe it to all these people, but actually I owed it to myself to do this right. And to face the fear, to get someone else to ask me the questions to help me find the answers. And when I looked back on this journey I went through and why I came up with this idea of total succession was There's space that we need to take. Space in the sense of making space in your calendar, making space in your thought like just pause and create some space. And in that space, can you see what you want? Can you ask those that you love what they want? Can you ask your team what they want? And heck, for that matter, you could even ask the clients what they want. The seeing part is to try and paint the end game, the goal, if you will, the reality of what what future you want to have. Because if you don't see it, you're going to just focus on the day to day, and it'll be by default you stumble into whatever your exit's going to look like. And then you might see you wish you would have thought to do some things differently. So in seeing, painting the picture, what do you want the end game to look like? What do you want to have a retirement? How many years do you want to be retired? Do you want to have more freedom? Do you want to let yourself, can you see yourself letting go of things you hate to do more of the things you love? Is that keeping you in the business or not keeping you in the business? And as you can see, and as you can process those answers to those questions, you will start seeing things you have to prepare for within the business, within the team. Uh, it's almost like creating the list of things that you need to do differently, or you might need to prepare to talk to an attorney. You might be preparing tax consequences. It might be preparing conversations to have with loved ones or your team or clients. It might be getting data out of your head and into systems other people can have. It might be preparing policies and procedures and ways that things can run without you. You see this list of things you need to prepare, and then prioritizing that list, can you see where you first need to take action steps to start accomplishing some of these things and checking some of these things off? If a succession is in the near term, is it something internal or is it something external? And what do you need to prepare to make that happen? And then what do you need to act on to start setting that in motion? One of the things I had to realize is, what do you have to commit to do this? Ironically, it's a lot of committing to get help from other people. A lot of it is committing to spend a little bit of the time creating the space and some of the money to put some of the legal things in place. What are the things you need to commit to let go of in a succession, whether it's internal, whether it's that family member coming on? Can you commit to let them make mistakes and learn some things? Because if you try and protect everybody and help make all those decisions, you're never out from underneath running the whole business. Can you commit to letting the associates become the lead advisor and you take a back seat? If your succession is you're going to be acquired, can you commit? You don't own it anymore. Can you commit to the fact that you have to now submit to some things? Again, can you see what those things are so you can be preparing yourself for how that transition is going to look like to then exit? And what we find is if you can create the space to see, to prepare, to act, to commit, and then you're exiting into something instead of fearing this unknown. What would I do if I'm not working anymore? Ironically, after all these years of counseling clients to go into retirement, many times they don't know what they don't know until they know it. They don't know what they're going to do in retirement until they're free of the burden of their work.
And so, what you can expect from this show is real conversations, actual tools to use, stories from advisors who've walked through this at every stage in the journey. We're going to bring on experts that'll talk about practice valuation, talk about developing your team, because that's a concept that's often really challenging to even get started. We're going to have legal counsel on here to kind of talk through some of the potential pitfalls. And a huge piece of this is actually talking through the emotional process of it, because there's a whole transition of understanding your practice is no longer 100% your own, but that doesn't have to be a negative thing for you. And our goal is to provide a great variety of solo episodes like this, where Tyson and I will actually talk through some of the current trends and what's going on. We'll actually have interviews with people who've exited well and some who didn't, and just bring stories and examples so you can find yourself in every episode and to have one takeaway that'll allow you to have some traction in your own succession planning so that your exit doesn't have to feel so foreign or overwhelming. Our goal is to help you be equipped to see this as a doable process and that it's worthy of your time. Not just for the clients, not just for your family, not just for the practice that you've built, but for you. This is your life's work, and it's really important that you prioritize this, and we want to help you do that well.
What I'm realizing is advisors are clients too. And ultimately, success for me is when my eulogy is read and I'm not here anymore. It can be said of me that things were properly handled, well prepared, people weren't scattered, clients weren't fearful, the team wasn't a deer in headlights, those that I love weren't financially affected. That once in place, I have now a peace of mind and a freedom and an excitement to know I am working towards something that I can see that other people want to help create and make a reality because I got over my fear. I stopped letting the urgent crowd out the important, and I went through a process of getting help by other people. I got information, I got informed, and I made some decisions and I moved forward. And we're encouraging you, business owners in the financial services industry, to come along with us and see how this can impact you as it has impacted us.
So, next time you'll actually hear from Scott Danner and his story and why he believes you should always be ready to sell. Because if you don't have your business set up correctly to sell, you might miss the opportunity. So, please take this opportunity to subscribe and follow the podcast so you're notified of all new episodes and so you don't miss any stories and any of the practical tools coming your way to help you exit your business well. Until next time.
I've wrestled with these things myself, and that's exactly why I created something to help you do it with less stress and more direction. My book, Total Succession, simplifies the process by breaking it down into 5 clear steps to help you exit on your terms, with confidence, full compensation, and your client's best interests at heart. You can also head to totalsuccession.com for 1, a free guide that you can use as a starter to work through the see, prepare, act, commit, exit framework, and 2, for another freebie, my Advisor to Advisor Retirement Readiness Assessment. Remember, you only exit your business once. Create the space to make it happen. Thank you for listening. Until next time.